Welcome to a journey into the darker side of history, a place where evil deeds were committed and justice never got its due. In today's video, we're diving into chilling true stories of notorious criminals whose identities remain a mystery. These aren't ghost stories or urban legends, they are real cases that left investigators and the public searching for answers for decades. From cryptic letters that still baffle experts to brutal crimes committed in broad daylight. These cases remind us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters slip away into the night. So, if you're ready to get a little creeped out by the unknown and the unsolved, let's explore these haunting tales one by one. Have you ever received a letter that chilled you to the bone? Let's start with the infamous Zodiac killer who terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 70s. This elusive criminal sent bizarre, cryptic letters to local newspapers, daring the police to catch him. In his taunting messages, he boasted of his crimes and even included complex ciphers, some of which remain unsolved to this day. The Zodiac claimed responsibility for several brutal crimes, targeting young couples and lone individuals, yet his true identity has never been confirmed. Despite countless investigations, new evidence, and modern forensic techniques, the Zodiac killer continues to be one of America's most notorious unsolved mysteries. His callous mix of bravado and calculated cruelty has kept both law enforcement and armchair detectives busy for decades, leaving behind more questions than answers. What if you were wandering the foggy streets of Victorian London and a shadow lurked around every corner? Imagine the terror of 1888 in the Whitechapel district where Jack the Ripper prowled the night. This unidentified killer's brutal attacks on female sex workers, marked by grisly mutilations, sent shockwaves throughout London and the world. Despite numerous suspects and theories over the years, from local butchers to aristocrats, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains hidden in the annals of history. His reign of terror was characterized not just by the violence of his crimes, but by the mystery that enveloped every unsolved crime. The Ripper's ability to vanish into the labyrinthine streets of Victorian London, evading capture and igniting a media frenzy, has cemented his place as perhaps the most infamous unsolved case of all time. More than a century later, his legend continues to captivate and horrify. Have you ever heard of a killer who broke into homes and even sent eerie notes to the press? The Axeman of New Orleans haunted the streets between 1918 and 1919, leaving a trail of terror that sends shivers down spines today. Unlike most killers who strike in secrecy, this killer was known for his bizarre communication, penning letters that hinted at his next move and even suggested a taste for jazz music. Victims, chosen at random, were attacked in their own homes with an axe, and the brutality of these crimes left the community in a state of panic. The Axeman's unpredictable methods and mysterious motivations sparked a wave of rumors and superstitions, with some locals even believing he was a demon or spirit sent to punish the city. Despite a massive manhunt and intense public scrutiny, the Axeman vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a city forever changed by fear. Can you imagine a killer so gruesome that his crimes left a city paralyzed with fear? In the 1930s, Cleveland, Ohio was terrorized by the Cleveland Torso Killer, often referred to as the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. This unidentified killer was notorious for dismembering his victims in a series of shocking and macabre crimes. The brutality of the attacks, which involved the systemic butchering of bodies, left both the community and law enforcement reeling. Despite extensive investigations, no one was ever charged with these horrific crimes, and the killer's identity remains one of the most baffling mysteries in American criminal history. The sheer savagery of the crimes and the grisly manner in which they were carried out have led many to believe that this was not the act of a common criminal, but of someone with a deeply disturbed psyche. To this day, the case continues to intrigue and horrify, a grim reminder of how evil can lurk in even the most unsuspecting places. What secrets could be hiding beneath the serene shores of Long Island? Moving to the East Coast, the case of the Gilgo Beach killer, also known as the Long Island serial killer, remains one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries in modern American history. Between the late 1990s and the early 2010s, the discovery of several victims' remains along remote beaches and highways in Long Island sent shockwaves through the community. The victims, many of whom were vulnerable sex workers, were found in various states of decomposition, suggesting a serial killer operating with chilling precision. Despite years of investigations, advanced forensic analysis, and numerous tips from the public, law enforcement has been unable to definitively link the crimes to a single suspect. The case not only highlights the tragic exploitation of society's most marginalized individuals, but also the profound challenges that arise when a killer manages to slip through every net cast by the authorities. The mystery of the Long Island serial killer continues to haunt the region, a dark stain on an otherwise picturesque landscape. Ever stumble upon a modern mystery that makes you question everything you thought you knew about safety in a big city? In Albuquerque, New Mexico, the grim case of the West Mesa bone collector has puzzled investigators and terrified residents. Around 2009, the remains of 11 women were discovered buried in the desolate expanses of Albuquerque's West Mesa. These were not the results of a single tragic accident or natural causes, but the work of a killer whose identity remains unknown. The case shocked the local community not only because of the sheer number of victims, but also due to the cold, methodical way in which they were disposed of. Despite intensive investigations, numerous leads, and even modern DNA analysis, the person responsible for these heinous crimes has never been brought to justice. The West Mesa bone collector case stands as a reminder that even in our modern, supposedly safe urban environments, darkness can hide in the most unexpected places. How does a series of brutal 19th century crimes still haunt a city's history today? Let's travel back to Austin, Texas in the 1880s, where the servant girl Annihilator left a trail of terror that shocked the fledgling city. This unknown killer targeted young servant girls in a series of vicious attacks that captivated and horrified the public. The crimes were marked by a shocking level of brutality, with victims often found in public or semi-public areas, a testament to the killer's daring and cruelty. Despite the relative simplicity of life back then, the case confounded early forensic experts and investigators who could do little more than speculate about the motive and identity of the killer. The legend of the servant girl Annihilator has grown over the decades not only because of the mystery surrounding the crimes, but also due to the social impact they had on a community still finding its footing in a rapidly changing America. Even today, the unresolved nature of these crimes sparks both historical interest and a lingering sense of dread. What if a quiet Italian countryside was concealing a horror that defies explanation? Between the late 1960s and the mid-1980s, the area around Florence, Italy, was rocked by a series of gruesome crimes that would come to be known as the Monster of Florence case. Couples out on romantic getaways turned into victims in a series of brutal, ritualistic killings. The nature of these crimes, the precision, the methodical approach, and the seemingly random selection of victims has led many to wonder if there was a single twisted mind behind the carnage. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged, ranging from organized crime to occult rituals, yet no definitive culprit has ever been identified. The case not only challenged Italian law enforcement, but also drew international attention, with experts and amateur sleuths attempting to piece together the puzzle. The mystery of the Monster of Florence continues to be a topic of debate, a reminder that some evils can remain hidden in plain sight. Can you imagine the shock of discovering an entire family with their lives brutally taken with no answer in sight? In 2000, the quiet suburb of Setagaya in Tokyo was rocked by a crime that defied explanation: the Setagaya family crimes. In broad daylight, a seemingly ordinary household became the scene of an unspeakable tragedy when every member of the family was found brutally slain. The case was not only horrifying in its brutality, but also in the mystery surrounding it. Despite exhaustive investigations and widespread media attention, no solid leads ever emerged to point to the perpetrator. The lack of a clear motive or any tangible evidence has left both the Japanese public and law enforcement perplexed. The Setagaya case stands as a grim puzzle, reflecting how even in one of the world's most orderly societies, a single act of violence can shatter the peace and leave a community questioning its sense of security. What dark force could be behind a string of crimes crimes along a scenic American roadway. Our final story takes us to the Colonial Parkway in Virginia, where between 1986 and 1989, a series of brutal crimes left an indelible mark on the region's history. Over the course of just a few years, 5 individuals were found dead along this picturesque stretch of road, their lives taken in mysterious and violent circumstances. The case, marked by its eerie lack of clear motive and the killer's ability to vanish without a trace, has confounded investigators for decades. Despite the implementation of advanced investigative techniques and the passage of time, the perpetrator behind these heinous acts remains unidentified. The Colonial Parkway killings continue to be one of the most haunting unsolved cases in the United States, a reminder that sometimes evil can strike in the most unexpected places, leaving behind scars that never fully heal. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Levi Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye!